Right. Thanks for letting me read. Again, I'm an addict, and my name's Adam. And tonight, I have asked someone that I love very much to come out and share. Her name's Elaine. Now, Elaine had been coming in and out a little longer than I had, but we met up like right when COVID had started. And we met not face to face, we met screen to screen. And I've told y'all, like, I'll do the Zoom meetings. I mean, I smoked bad crack, right? Like I did any drug. So, I did the Zoom and I'm grateful that I was able to broaden my base, right? And I got to meet her and she's just been amazing in my life. She's helped me with H&I, like she was the chair of H&I when I was just a panel member. She's done a lot of service since she's been around. Hold up. I still got more. But I am going to say this, like her story is it's hardcore. Like it's hardcore. And I definitely resonate with the childhood trauma, but I don't know. Here she is, Elaine.
Man. I don't know what he's talking about. I grew up on a farm. You had flowers and roses. I have a green thumb. Okay, my name is Elaine and I'm an addict. Have any of you been a part of Narcotics Anonymous before? A couple rounds? Anybody new? Like brand new, never heard about it? All right, so this is a program. Principles. So I'm from New York, and the points that I'm about to point out, because I don't have long, I'm just going to explain pretty much like where you'll get it. So I'm born. These are my excuses to use. Let me put it like that. I was left in a stupid adoption agency in Brooklyn. I wound up with an adoptive mom who used to lock me in a room with a bucket of shit in. I had an adoptive brother who had my dog eating my vagina as a little girl at 4 years old. He hid his Monopoly games in my closet, his porno in my Monopoly game in my closet. I knelt on rice till my knees bled, never had a birthday, didn't celebrate Christmas. Like literally, I would go to school and I would have to lie about the presents that I got, because you know how you would go to school and everybody would write a list about the presents, and like I never received any. Never had a birthday present, so I had no love. And I did not know as a child that that wasn't normal, because we were very isolated. My adoptive mom was a visiting nurse, a registered nurse, and on the outside, we looked like a whole family, And my adoptive brother was removed from the home. We had two adoptive brothers, so one used to abuse the both of us. And then the other one wound up going into a crazy hospital. So I was left alone with her. And that's when she started locking me in my room. I had like Rice Krispies with powdered skim milk. Anybody know about that? The powdered skim milk. And with that bucket to shit in, like I remember I would have to steal. The only thing that we had a lock on the refrigerator, like a big chain, like plastic, like a big blue. It was a chain and it had like a blue plastic covering a big lock. And so in the cabinets, the one thing that I could get was, you remember Marshmallow Fluff? It had the blue top. They don't sell it anymore. So at my age, I'm 45. I'm going to be 45 on Tuesday. But the fluff, and I remember, everybody know Popeyes, right? The can of spinach, eat the spinach and eat get big. I never thought I would hear this, but I met a girl online who actually did the same thing that I'm about to tell you. So we're talking about a life of fantasy. So being locked in that room, like I always really kind of lived in my head. And so what I learned also about this program is that I was an addict way before I ever picked up a drug. I have been trying to survive my emotions since I was a little kid. But anyway, so I get this big idea. I'm in the cabinets. When I was looking for the fluff, I found a can of spinach. I managed to get a butter knife, right? And I had this can of spinach, and it took me about a week to get it open, because I'm like, I'm going to drink the spinach and I'm going to beat his ass. Like I'm going to get big and I'm going to, like, Popeye would eat the spinach. Well, I don't know if any of you guys may be young and don't know Popeye. He would eat the spinach and he would get these big muscles. And so I thought that I would eat the spinach, and you should have seen a bunch of this. Poking. Finally, I got enough. And I remember and I got spinach juice and waiting to get strong, and like nothing fucking happened.
I have a question.
What part of New York? Brooklyn, originally, yeah. But like nothing happened, right? Narcotics Anonymous, and this is so corny, but really is like my spinach. If I can make that, if it makes any sense to you. So I ran away. I was put in foster care. I had abuse in the foster homes. I reached out for help a couple of times, and I would always get like left in the home, and they would tell the mother what I said. And so I kind of had this thought in my mind, like 11, you're on your own. And I remember going into a foster home. My adoptive mother actually got me back one time when this mother was going to adopt me, had this foster mother in Queens. She was going to adopt me. Lovely woman, but she had to go through her to get the adoption. And so they take me back to her, and I was in school. There was a fight. We're playing double. Something happened, and I wound up going home late. And I remember sitting on the porch, and I think I might have threatened her, and she wound up admitting me into this hospital. And I wound up being in a crazy hospital, and that was the end of my relationship with her. But I wound up running away. It was Bronx Children's Psychiatric Center, and I wound up running away from the hospital. I had a roommate. I walked in on her dad touching her in the hospital on a visit. I happened to walk into the room, and she didn't speak no English. Her name was Tomai. And we didn't talk. And I remember pushing him, and he runs out of the room, and I just sat on my bunk. And she said to me, Elaine, you have to talk to them. So I wasn't getting levels. See, in a crazy hospital, the more you talk, the better they think you're getting. And her telling me that, she was pretty much saying, like, if you talk to them, you can get your level and you'll be able to, like, move up. Because I was stuck on that unit with Elaine, just to be been on nursing station. Like, there's different units and whatever. So I learned early on again, to talk, and I would pretend to be getting better, and I would just talk. And I started getting levels. And as soon as you get a level, you can get off the unit and go to the rec room. And then if you talk a little more, you get to go outside of the building onto the grounds. And if you talk a little more, you get a pass and you get to get off grounds. And I ran away. And I pretty much have been a runaway all of my life. And I faced a lot of things in the streets, a homeless teen. So I never finished. The 7th grade was actually the last grade that I completed. Thanks to perseverance and this program, like I had my heart fail last year, and I was a welder for 23 years, and I couldn't weld anymore. And I was in this hospital, and I'm like, I had no GED, no nothing, no high school diploma, and I had to change my life, my trade. Now I'm going to need a GED. I'm going to need a high school diploma because that's like the minimum requirement. So I just got it. Yay! I got it last year. I failed 4 times the math. I passed everything else with the math. I was failing by 5 points, 1 point, 5 point, 1 point. And I actually wound up going, I was going to say fuck it. I didn't want to do it on Wild National Anthem, fuck it. And I wound up going onto a Zoom meeting. And there was a guy who was blind who had same education that I had. He has a doctorate and he's going further and further. And he said, and I shared about I had to take the test again. And it was like, it's a meeting at 5 o'clock in the morning, that spiritual one. It's like 3 weeks. Melly started it, Mel. And he shared to me and said he also failed and he passed on his 5th go. It was intervention. It was like, there's a spiritual thing that happens in here. And that's what gave me that push. And I wound up passing and I got my GED. So I'm a school bus driver now for Norfolk Public Schools. It's like where I'm at now. What I want to share is this. When I came into this fellowship, I walked into a meeting that was down here on Collie and Baldwin on a lunch break. I was fishing in Portsmouth, actually, and the storm came, and I was on a little skiff. I had rented a boat from Culpeppers, and like I had my smoke and I had my alcohol, and I was trying to like fish. And again, the storm came, and instead of me calling for help, I took a video. I was working for Roland. He's the one who introduced me. And instead of calling for help, I'm taking a video like this is happening now. Anyway, I went to work, and I wound up happened to be working for a man who had like 20 years, I think, at that time clean. And he told the electrician to take me with him to a meeting after I told him the ordeal I had went through. What I want to tell you is that a storm came, and then as soon as I got to shore, it cleared up and like the streets were dry. And it's just so weird because I believe that truly was the divine intervention. I started making these meetings and I didn't really care about it because I'm like welder, I was on a lunch break, I was getting paid for it. Just go with Al, and we would go to meetings on every lunch break. And I slowly started going to meetings, and something happened in these meetings. I slowly started to hear little bits and pieces of my story. I was going to kill my adopted brother. I was going to kill my adopted mother. They were my two main people, you know, and I had a voice in my head that told me that the only way that I could survive was to kill them, like die. Like once I kill them or myself, like I'll be free from the pain. You understand? It's like I had to get back. And then coming up in the streets, if somebody hurts you, you got to get them back. It's all about get back, get back, get back. I would literally be welding and contemplating, like, how can the murders, different ways that I can murder them. I found them. I found my adopted brother. I thought he had a good life. He was a paralegal. You know, my adopted mother wound up still actually living in the same place. You know, I bumped into her. I drove up there. Like it was, and God knew what God was doing because these steps, we have the steps, right? You hear about these steps that we work, and it's an inventory that we do take on ourselves. And I didn't like myself. When I was 8, I had molested one of my foster brothers. I was caught doing that. Nobody explained to me why it was wrong, but that was something that I kind of pulled away, and that came up as I was writing steps. I have to explain to you how I got to the forgiveness part right now of my adopted brother. I got to share this. So my adopted brother had my dog doing what he was doing to me. I found him. I was going to kill him. I actually sat down with him in a restaurant and we talked. The woman who he used to get the paper for used to make him do things with the dog. And that's where he got it from. And he was a couple years older than me. It doesn't make it right, but I got a little bit of understanding. Hurt people hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just doing what was taught to me. That was a secret that I had. I went to Rikers at 15. I lied. I was in and out of jail. I had lied about my age. And then my prince came back and they took me out of population. They put me in protective custody. And I saw a woman getting beat to death for molesting her kids. I have remembered what I'd done. And I thought that if anybody knew what I'd done, that they would want to kill me too. So we're talking about these secrets that we have. Right? And when I realized that it wasn't normal to be having sex with your brother, it wasn't normal, you know, that the molestation, like it wasn't normal. Like this, it's like an issue to have all these secrets and then like never having the clothes and never having a mom or a dad or like no Christmas. No, I see it on television. Like I thought I was the only one in the world who never experienced holidays, birthday parties. I never had a fucking birthday party. My birthday party, I had one in my life. And it was at UPS. I was working for UPS, one of my first legal jobs. And I had a birthday party. So we're talking about growing up feeling like I'm a piece of shit. Growing up feeling like nobody really wants me. And how about not showing that shit to anybody? I was a welder. Like I made good money on the outside and looked like I had my shit together. A car, or stay with a car, stay with a job. And I'm badass. I'm good at what I did. Thank you. I'm good at what I did. But on the inside, I want to kill every fucking body and I want to die. My first drug, not getting into a whole drug-a-log, but I remember the first time I felt some dope at 15 years old. I was selling it and they told me, if you take this shit for 1 or 2 days, you'll be hooked. I didn't believe it. But what I did was I took it on the second to the third day, thinking like, you know, it ain't nothing. And I really did feel sick. I've been chewing ice all my life. Sick, you can't chew ice. And for anybody experienced that, ice does not taste the same when you are going through a withdrawal, right? And that's when I realized, and I remember I had to get some kind of help. And I walked into a church, hair braided, looking like Latifah from Set It Off, gun on me. I don't know. I just want some like help because I can't let these people find out and I have a problem. And they looked at me like I was going to rob them. And I ran out of the church. Now I got a resentment against God. I also had a resentment against God. My adopted mom was Catholic. Look at what she did to me. Foster mother, they were Baptist. I done experienced so many different, been in so many different places where religion was present and I was being abused and I was being harmful and whatever. And I look at all the homelessness in New York and like all the people, the shit that I used to see going on in the streets. I'm like, there can't be no God. All of these things. The drugs, I'm sorry to tell you, is not your problem. You understand? But to attack all of these different issues that I have, I had to remove them. You understand? And it's like this program gave me the tools that I needed to be able to be okay with being me. I no longer want to kill my adopted brother. Like, I forgave him. Why? Because it's like, I'm not perfect. And I realized I saw what I did, but it took me to get close. It took me to get close to somebody, to get honest with them and to tell them my secrets and to have them love me and say, Elaine, you were 8. You didn't know any better. This program ain't going to work for you if you're not honest. And if you don't want to work it, get the fuck out of here. Point blank, you cannot do this for nobody else. Nobody owes me shit. I owe it to myself. You piss me off, fuck you, I'm gonna go get high. I did that, done that. You're not hurting nobody. It's just like in the movie, Lean on Me. He was like, smoke crack, don't you jump. Maybe tell the little boy to jump. I don't want to jump, you just jump. Like, just go ahead and do it. So it's like, you cannot, it is imperative, very important to find somebody who you believe in, who you believe respects you, who you identify with, and who you trust. So we can, for me to be able to unload and be able to really get to, and then to be able to be completely 100% honest with somebody and them not run. To have somebody say, me too. I thought I was the only one who was raped. I thought I was the only one who went through those things. And it turns out I'm one of millions. I'm one of billions. There's so many people. So the excuse is like, well, you don't know what I went through. That used to be my main go-to. You don't know what it's like. Here, the only requirement that we have when we're sharing, we share our experience, strength, and hope. And that is what's the difference. Because I ain't listening to somebody, you ain't never been through what I've been through. Fuck you, out my face. How did you get through? There's something about somebody saying, yo, me too, girl. My adopted mom, I forgive her. And what I found out from her, she was from Louisiana and she was a descendant. Her parents were descendants of slaves. So the whipping, she used to whip me, hunt lashes. She counted, made me take my clothes off. The locking me in a room and the certain things, it was conditioning. You gotta understand, and I would not be able to comprehend and even think on that level if it wasn't for this program. The principles, there's a freedom to not having to walk around feeling like I gotta get them back. My real mom, I never met her. I did some DNA. I wrote into this show through millions as a spiritual intervention. People I wrote in, I sent an email. I didn't even write into the show. I sent an email. This show that I watched touched my heart, and I thanked them for the help that they do to people. Somehow they actually responded to my email. 5 years ago, they were supposed to help me find my parents and but then they stopped airing the show, so they released my DNA results. I never even knew my nationality. That was another issue that I had. Filling out a fucking application was so crazy for me because what's your nationality? You understand? It's like not even be able, like I used to put other. I would mark every box. And so my father's side is from the Congo and my mother is South Europe, Italy. And they released that to me, but they didn't release anything else to me. And then I did a little more searching. And the person who I think is my father, he's like America's Most Wanted. They're looking for him for 30 years. He escaped from prison in California. And it was like my hopes of thinking I'm going to find somebody. And then I think I met a half-sister. She's in my DNA and she was an asshole. And I went to this high and low. I was able to go through this without using them. I truly believe had it not been for COVID, but the fellowship, how they pulled through and God just threw me in here. And I was teaching people, learning as I was going, like how to chair meetings and online and the Zoom, and we needed meetings. And it was that pretty much helped me get through that clean. So what I do today is I don't have to run to using, right? I made a commitment to myself. I make a commitment to myself every day not to put that shit in my body. And it's more than just the drugs, because like an actual drug, narcotics is a monoamide altering chemical, right? And then anonymous, right, is like unknown. I stop using one thing, I pick up something else. I had been wearing my food. I lost a lot of weight and I'm still on that weight loss journey. And my heart failed, and then the lymphedema, and I'm gained a whole bunch of extra weight. And I was eating. And now I'm learning how to, the same way, I can apply the principles of this program to everything. Smoking, I've pretty much changed one day at a time. We never have to use, again, tradition. He just read these traditions, right? And it sounds like a bunch of want, right? It doesn't make any sense. Tradition 1 says our common wear should come first. Personal recovery depends on inner unity, right? And the guiding principles, it says our instinct is to meet disease with disease. But when we meet it with love and compassion instead, we create an opportunity for recovery, right? This helps me, and it helps me to stay, because it says our instinct is to meet disease with disease, which means it's if somebody say, fuck you, well, fuck you, right? You having a bad day. I happen to look you on, you think I was saying something to you, you came at me, you say fuck you, and then I just say fuck you too, and then now we got a problem. This is telling me you can say fuck you, and how about I don't have to respond like that? And if I don't, there's a possibility that maybe you might catch me later on, look, I ain't mean to snap on you, right? We're looking at, we need each other here, okay? So we don't get help from outside. We don't have therapists and doctors or whatever like that. This is the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without parallel. That means unmatched. Nothing compares to that. So that's what we have that's valuable, because you can't learn this from a book. We share our experience, our strength, and our hope. And I've learned how to keep my job. I became a better welder, learning how to be patient and listen and be open-minded and allow you to be you. And I don't have to, if you're now this, okay, did you ever think that your best friend has to agree with everything that you're saying? And if somebody doesn't agree with you, they can't work in your life? You got to follow me. I pray before I share, and I get pulled in different directions. I'm bringing this up. Through step work, there was a situation in my life. Every time I had an argument with someone, I was playing double dutch. The girl jumped first. She took my jump, and I grabbed the rope. She wound up hitting me first, long story short, and I wasn't ready for her to hit me. And the way everybody reacted, they were like, oh, I never wanted to feel that again. So if I had an argument with you, I hit you first. If I'm having a disagreement with someone, I hit first, because I never wanted to feel that, oh, I never want to get caught off guard. We're talking about behaviors. So I got in a lot of trouble, and I lost a lot of friends. But now I don't want to go to jail. I'm older now, so I can't just put my hands on you. So because I love you, I'm just going to leave you alone forever. Anybody ever understand that? You know what? I'm just going to leave you alone. I ain't fucking with you no more. Learning how to work with people, learning, this is a blueprint for me. I had no people skills, and you really didn't know who I was. I had the mask, and it's it's okay for me to disagree with you. I can agree to disagree today, right? I learned how to agree to disagree. I learned that we are stronger together. And I have to share this with you. Okay, God, higher power. I gotta go here. My higher power is universal. It's spiritual, God. I didn't go back to a God of my childhood. I'm still on that path. But I have tangible evidence of a higher power working in my life. I can't explain it. The esoteric, you get into the symbol, you learn about this fellowship. What I want to talk about God is this. For me, my belief, God will speak through any one of you. God uses people, places, and things So the better the relationships that I have with people, the more avenues, the more vessels that I have for God to help me. It doesn't have to make sense to you, but it makes sense to me. I was in the hospital. And one of the reasons why it helps to work on the steps, let me know when to shut up, to work on the steps is because like I get to clear the clutter out. And like I can actually listen, I can hear a whisper because I'm not caught up. I'm not looking over my shoulder. Like I'm not living the way that I was before. As soon as like before, if I get laid off, I'm taking my last check, I'm trying to flip it. I'm always trying to, like I went through, I never turned anything over. Okay, this is where you're taking me. So I was a welder here. I still make good money, but I live in check to check, right? I was in a hotel. I had a decision. Either like I had to extend the room, take my last check, or get it packed. My home group is still here. It's right up the street, Little Creek. But we changed churches. And I remember telling my home group members about it, like they knew the life that I used to live in. Well, telling all of them, like, Elaine, just hold on. God got you. And it's like I didn't want to, all I knew was to hustle. And as soon as something would go bad, I would already go back to hustling. I didn't have no GD and have no education, but I was a good welder. Like I could build a ship. I could do all that stuff, but I didn't know how to do anything else. And so again, I would get laid off and my back against the corner. It talked about that in the 4-step, how like getting into that ball, the fear, I don't know where I want to go, but the words are coming to me right now. Being paralyzed into inaction by fear, right? So, and I'm in the hotel. I just came from my home group. We were all in the parking lot and like, Elaine, just hold on, it's going to be all right. And I remember, and I was on a 3rd step and I had just finished, I did the book report. I hadn't practiced any of the principles. I did the writing. And I remember Mike didn't let me move to the 4th step. And I really wanted to move to the 4th step because we were steppers. And everybody was always talking about the next step that they were on. So it was more of a competition. Like, where you at? I'm on here. You still there? But he didn't want me to move forward because I wasn't looking to higher power for nothing. I get it now. So anyway, I'm in the hotel right over here in Greenbrier. And I was like, I said, and I had to make a decision on what I was going to do. Flip the pack, extend the room, move. And I said, okay, God. I was in the kitchen. I really didn't know who I was talking to. But I was like, I said, you got it. They talking all this shit. Let go, let God. I said, you got it. I promise you. I was like yelling and screaming. I was angry because change is uncomfortable. And I said, I'm going to bed. And I went to sleep. And when I woke up, my phone blown up from recruiter, like NSC. They were like, where you at, Elaine? The C question lifted. They started calling people and I got called. It was like, where you at? And they covered my hotel for that 2 weeks. And I never needed to do what I was going to do. Okay. So that was my first time. So it's like I had to call this higher power's bluff. That was my first conscious experience on letting go, letting God, like when it don't seem like there's a way and it's just a way. I'm in the hospital. I come back from the job, heart failed. I walked in there, this big ass welder. I left there with an oxygen tank. While I was in the hospital, I did not have the insurance. The lady walked in there and then because I had the job, I didn't qualify for the Medicaid. And I was leaving with this oxygen tank. I was gonna need an actuator like in my house, and like my life pretty much was changing. And I got laid off. I was telling him I got laid off while I was in the hospital. The lady happened to overhear me complaining to somebody else about how I just got laid off, like I'm in the hospital, She was the one who does the applications, and she came back and gave me the Medicaid application back. She said, fill that out. And because I just got laid off in the hospital, now I qualified for Medicaid. I had to pay $200 to breathe. If I didn't have $200, I was not going to be able to leave with their tank, on their setup. That's the crazy shit about the world we live in today. While I was in the hospital also, I had this apartment. I'm living in Virginia Beach. Finally got a place. For the first time in my life, all of my paperwork match. I can be found. I don't know about anybody else. I lived in hotels. I have a car in here. I brought insured in Virginia, insured in Florida. Like I never had anything that matched, like some stability. But anyway, I just got a place and I'm living on the third floor. And I'm like, how the fuck I'm gonna be walking up to the third floor? I couldn't take 4 steps without my O2 levels dropping below 80. Something said, call the landlord and see if you can move to another apartment. And this is while I'm laying in the hospital. Something said, just call and ask. And the moment that I called, the guy who lived in the apartment that I'm in now, he wound up passing. He had just passed the week before. I didn't know because I was out of town doing the job. And they said that I could have that apartment. It was on the first floor. I'm talking about whispers, right? It's the little whispers that tell you, like, do this. I came back from a job. I was renting a room, came back, and the lady had her daughter and her son smoking weed in my room. And I left and I wound up going to a hotel. And I said, God, this is when I was doing SART. I finished the commitment. You ready? 3 minutes?
I'm gonna break you. 2 minutes, her.
Okay, gotcha. So, and I remember SART. I remember saying to God, I said, God, I need a place. And God, you could replace it with good orderly direction. I have higher power. Spiritual. I said, God, I need a place, not next month, not 6 months from now. I need something now. And Al, he just bought a house from my landlord who I live now. And he had been such a good tenant with him. He calls me and he calls me back literally as soon as I got the commitment in 4 minutes. And then he said he didn't have nothing because he didn't have nothing where I was asking. But he said, I got a place in Virginia Beach on oceanfront. And it was just minutes. So it's like, I have evidence. All right. I don't know if I made any sense to you because I kind of like, I can't practice and try to come in here and be like, I go wherever God takes me. I want to tell you this. You matter. Like, you're worthy. And like, you don't have to keep going down this path. And if it's a path that you choose, own it. But if you really want to stop, you only got to go through a withdrawal once. Seriously, like, that's the shit. You only got to feel that uncomfortable feeling once. You ain't got to do that shit no more. But if you really want to figure out why, not you, I had to figure out why would I think the way that I think. You know, like the last time I used it was with a guy I didn't even like. I had to buy him an outfit because I didn't even like how he was dressed. I had disconnected myself from my body. You understand? It's like my body, I had to really disconnect myself, and I had used sex as a drug to change how I felt. I don't have to do that anymore. I don't got to settle for it. So right now, like, I take time learning how to love me. But it took a group of addicts who learned how to love themselves to love me. So I can learn how to love myself. And look, you can have a job, you can have everything. I'm talking about wanting to die on the inside. I don't feel that way no more. Get a sponsor. Somebody who believes in you and wants to help in your recovery, somebody you identify with. Get a home group. A home group is going to be a meeting that you make regularly. You feel comfortable. When you get there, like, you feel a vibe. Do service in that home group. Make the coffee, sit up, greet people, hug. Get a commitment. Because there's times when I feel like, fuck this. Commitment kind of helps me. Because I don't always want to be here. I don't wake up every day like, oh, I'm fucking in 8th grade. No. That's not like that. I'm not going to see and tell you that your life's going to come and you're going to be fucking 11A. No. But I want to continue to get better. I don't want to die no more. I had the gun to my head listening to Nina Simone, Trouble in Mind, and it jammed. That was going to be my song. And I haven't thought about killing myself in like maybe 7 years now. I affirm life today. Don't quit on yourself. Don't give up on the guy or the woman next to you. We need each other. Don't kick each other while they're down. I came in and out. The guy that keeps coming in and out, don't talk shit about him or her. Help them. Breathe life into them. We need each other. And we don't know how far somebody's hole was. You don't know. And that person who is not getting it, that you turn your nose up to, will be the one that will save your fucking life when you fall. We need each other. And trust me, if they're sitting in this room with you, they're soldiers who are the higher power. And that is a vessel that God just made. That may be the only thing that the higher power got to help you. That one person. Don't judge a book by its cover. Do not judge a book by its cover. And try not to judge. Pompous assholes need love too. Seriously. Have you ever been a jerk? When you're looking at somebody and they getting on your fucking nerves, have you ever done what they're doing and getting on your nerves? That's one of the ways that it helps me to stay. I learned that through the traditions, step work, principles, and being part of a fellowship that can't kick me the fuck out. You cannot be kicked out of Narcotics Anonymous. You can be removed from a meeting if you trying to cause harm to somebody. There are some rules. We have literature on that tells us, disruptive behavior. Get into the literature. But like I said, for me, I never had a mom and dad. So this is my mom and dad. You guys are my mom and dad, my brother, sister, mother. I don't know what role you may play. Just as I'm sitting here carrying a message to you, God forbid, but reality is I could fall and be on that side and one of y'all coming in here sharing your experience straight off to me. You never know. But the thing is here, you fall down, we get up is what we do. We fall down, we get up. We fall down, we get up. I've lied about clean time, celebrated a year after I got my year.
You might as well take it back.
Don't quit on yourself. I don't care how many times you fall, you can do this as long as you want to do it. And if somebody keep going in and out and they don't feel like they're not taking this shit seriously, watch them. Because they will get it when they're ready. We all have what it takes. We all have what it takes. Like and all these spiritual principles, we have them. We just use them in a negative way. I persevered to get some shit. I've been so patient. I'm coming in an hour. Fucking hour turned to a whole fucking day. A whole week. You ain't never been patient. We've been patient. We have tolerance. I'm gonna shut up. I'm sorry. But please just don't quit on yourselves, okay? And believe in the person next to you. You ain't gotta be best friends, buddy, but y'all all got one thing in common, and that's the disease. And you wanna stop. You wanna get better. And that's what you hold on to when that personality and character's getting on your fucking nerves. We got to look at what we got in common, why we're here. We're thrusted in here together. Okay, that's it. I'm sorry.